The news of humanity's victory at the Battle of Sol spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. Within days, the three great alien empires that had ruled space for thousands of years began to crumble from within. Their own people could not believe that the mighty fleets had been destroyed by primitive humans. On the Zephyrian homeworld, crowds gathered in the streets demanding answers from their government. Emperor Vashtai tried to address his people from the palace balcony, but angry citizens shouted him down. "You told us humans were weak," called out a factory worker. "You said our fleet was invincible. Where are sons and daughters who went?" To fight this war, the emperor had no good answers. Less than 50 survivors had returned from the Grand Armada of 5,000 ships. These shell-shocked soldiers told impossible stories about human weapons that defied the laws of physics. Most Zephyrians refused to believe such tales. Similar scenes played out across Corton space. The Federation's military leaders blamed each other for the catastrophic defeat. General Tokanar accused Admiral Villeneuve of cowardice. Admiral Velmoth claimed the intelligence officers had lied about human capabilities. Soon, Corton ships were fighting each other instead of external enemies. The Vex-High Collective's response was the most extreme. These mind-reading aliens had always believed they were superior to all other species. The defeat at Sol broke their collective consciousness. Different factions of Vex-High began attacking each other as their unified society collapsed. Ambassador Dan Cooper arrived at the ruins of the Galactic Council just 3 weeks after the battle. The massive space station that had been the center of galactic government for 2 millennia was nearly empty. Most alien representatives had fled home to deal with civil wars and rebellions. Dan walked through empty corridors that had once echoed with the voices of hundreds of species. Now only a few dozen delegates remained, mostly from minor races that had served the 3 great empires. These beings looked at the human ambassador with a mixture of fear and desperate hope. At Council Speaker Nimtar, a representative of the peaceful Altarian Republic, approached Dan with obvious nervousness. "Ambassador Cooper, we have been waiting for Earth's response to the current crisis. What are humanity's intentions regarding galactic governance?" Dan had prepared for this question during his journey from Earth. The old order was dead. Someone had to fill the power vacuum, or the galaxy would tear itself apart in endless wars between the fractured alien factions. The Terran Federation accepts responsibility for maintaining peace and protecting legitimate trade routes, Dan announced to the remaining delegates. Any species that renounces aggression and accepts peaceful. The Battle of Sol began with a sight that no being in the galaxy had ever witnessed. 5,000 alien ships faced what appeared to be only a few hundred human vessels. But appearances meant nothing when humanity finally revealed the full extent of their hidden power. Captain Ron Mitchell stood on the bridge of the massive dreadnought Olympus. His ship was 15 kilometers long and packed with experimental weapons that had never been used in real combat. The crew of 3,000 had trained for this moment their entire lives. "All weapon systems online," reported his tactical officer, Lieutenant Joe Green. "Gravity well generators are charged. Antimatter reserves at maximum capacity." Ron watched the enemy fleet advance toward Earth. The aliens still thought they faced primitive humans with basic technology. In moments, they would learn the truth about humanity's true capabilities. "Target the largest Zephyrian battleship," Ron commanded. "Let's show them what the World Breaker can do." The World Breaker was humanity's most terrifying weapon. It fired a miniature black hole contained in a special energy field. When the projectile hit its target, the black hole consumed everything around it. Matter, energy, even space itself disappeared forever. Captain Sue Adams operated the weapon from her station deep inside Olympus. She had spent 5 years learning to control forces that most species believed were impossible to weaponize. Her finger hesitated over the firing button for just a moment. Then she remembered all the human colonies the aliens had destroyed. The Worldbreaker fired with no visible flash or sound. Its projectile looked like a tiny dark spot moving through space. But when it reached the Zephyrian flagship Eternal Glory, the massive alien ship simply vanished. No explosion, no debris. One moment it existed. The next moment there was only empty space. Admiral Zektar had been aboard that ship. His crew of 10,000 experienced warriors ceased to exist in an instant. The other alien commanders watched in horror as their most powerful vessel disappeared completely. "What kind of weapon can do that?" whispered General Morkoth from his own flagship. He received his answer moments later. Commander Pam Kelly unleashed her swarm of combat drones from hidden carriers throughout the solar system. These were not ordinary machines. Each drone contained artificial intelligence that could learn and adapt during battle. The first wave of drones attacked like angry insects. They moved so fast that alien weapons could not track them. When the drones were destroyed, they transmitted their combat experience to the surviving machines. Each wave became smarter and deadlier than the last. Captain Amy Davis commanded the cruiser Thunder, now revealed in its full glory. Her ship's experimental armor did not just absorb enemy attacks. It converted hostile energy into power for human weapons. The more the aliens shot at Thunder, the stronger it became. Amy's crew watched their power levels climb as hundreds of enemy beams struck their hull. "Ma'am, we're at 200% normal capacity," reported her engineer lieutenant, Dan Cooper. "Excellent. Channel all that energy to the main guns. Let's return the favor." Thunder fired a concentrated antimatter beam that cut through 6 alien ships in a straight line. The energy was so intense that it continued traveling until it reached a small moon, which promptly exploded in a brilliant flash. The real terror began when Commander Grace Miller activated the Soul Defense Grid's primary function. What the aliens had thought were scattered weapon platforms were actually components of a single massive system. When connected, they could manipulate gravity across the entire solar system. Grace pressed a series of controls from her hidden command station. Suddenly, gravity began working differently near the alien fleet. Some ships found themselves pulled toward the sun. Others were compressed by forces that should not have existed. A few lucky vessels were merely torn apart by gravitational tides. Captain Steve Parker commanded the stealth ship Shadow Walker. His vessel could become invisible and travel through solid objects. Steve used these abilities to appear inside enemy ships and attack from within their own hulls. The Iron Fist, General Morkoth's flagship, was Steve's target. His ship phased through the massive alien hull like a ghost passing through a wall. Once inside, Shadow Walker fired quantum torpedoes that removed sections of the enemy ship from reality itself. General Morkoth watched his own vessel disintegrate around him. Entire decks simply vanished as human weapons struck from impossible angles. His crew ran in panic as hull breaches appeared in areas that had no damage visible from outside. "How are they inside our ship?" Morkoth demanded. "Our sensors show no intruders." His question was answered when Shadow Walker became visible for just a moment before firing its final shot. The quantum torpedo removed the Iron Fist's command center from existence. General Morkoth and his entire bridge crew ceased to exist. The Vex High Collective's dark ships tried to use their dimensional abilities to escape the battle. These aliens could exist in multiple universes at once, making them nearly impossible to destroy with conventional weapons. But humans had prepared for this possibility too. Admiral Tony Clark activated a device called the Reality Anchor. This machine locked space around the battlefield into a single dimension. The Vex High ships found themselves trapped in normal space where human weapons could reach them. Supreme Overmind Thulinth felt panic for the first time in its 1,000-year existence. Its most powerful ships were being destroyed by weapons that should not have been possible. Human fighters moved faster than light in short jumps. Human capital ships wielded the forces of creation itself. Lieutenant Colonel Carl Tucker commanded a squadron of experimental bombers called Void Strikers. These ships carried weapons that created tears in the fabric of space itself. When a Void Striker attacked, it opened a small wormhole that connected the target to the inside of a star. Carl selected a cluster of HFY cruisers as his target. Phoenix Squadron, prepare for synchronized strike. On my mark, open dimensional rifts at the following coordinates. 6 Void Strikers fired simultaneously. Space tore open in 6 different places, creating portals to the nuclear furnace of Earth's sun. Superheated plasma rushed through the rifts and consumed the alien ships. Completely. Captain Kevin Moore piloted the experimental fighter Quantum Edge. His small craft carried a weapon that could multiply itself across different dimensions. When Kevin fired, the same shot hit targets in dozens of parallel universes simultaneously. The effect was devastating. To watch, Kevin would fire once, but hundreds of enemy ships would explode at the same moment. Reality itself became a weapon in human hands. As the battle continued, the alien fleet began to collapse. Their commanders were dead or fleeing. Their most powerful ships were destroyed or disabled. The Grand Armada that had been built to conquer the galaxy was being torn apart by forces they could not understand. Commander Betty Young watched the battle from Earth's orbital command station. Her job was to coordinate all human forces and ensure no enemy ship escaped to threaten civilian targets. The aliens had come to destroy every human in the galaxy. They would not get the chance. Admiral Brooks, enemy fleet strength is down to 20%, Betty reported. Remaining ships are attempting to retreat to hyperspace. Admiral Lisa Brooks considered letting some aliens escape to spread word of humanity's power. But these enemies had crossed the line when they planned genocide against her species. Negative. No alien ship leaves this system. Activate the hyperspace interdictors. Nothing escapes today. Hidden devices throughout the solar system created fields that prevented faster-than-light travel. The surviving alien ships found themselves trapped in normal space with Earth's war fleet. There would be no escape from the consequences of their aggression. The Battle of Sol lasted 18 hours. When it ended, fewer than 50 ships remained from the original Grand Armada of 5,000. These survivors floated dead in space, their crews too shocked to operate their vessels. Captain Jake Morrison, who had started this war by watching aliens attack helpless human cargo ships, now commanded the boarding parties that captured enemy vessels. He walked through the corridors of alien ships and saw the terror in his enemy's eyes. "Tell me," Jake asked a captured Zephyrian officer, "do you still think humans are primitive?" The alien could not answer. Everything his civilization had believed about the galaxy was wrong. Humans were not the weak species they pretended to be. They were apex predators who had been hiding their true nature for centuries. Admiral Kevin Moore opened a communication channel to the surviving alien crews. His message would be broadcast across the galaxy within hours. "This is Admiral Moore of the Terran Defense Force. You came here to destroy humanity. Instead, you have witnessed the end of the old galactic order. Return to your homes and tell your leaders what you have seen. The age of human dominance has begun." The news from Wolf 359 shocked the entire galaxy. 3 great empires that had ruled space for thousands of years could not accept defeat by primitive humans. Within weeks of the battle, something unprecedented happened. The Zephyrian Empire, Corton Federation, and HFY Collective formed an alliance for the first time in galactic history. Emperor Rathgol of the Cortons met with Zephyrian Council leader Vezahul on the neutral world of Epsilon Prime. These two races had been enemies for centuries. Their wars had destroyed entire star systems. But now they faced a common threat that terrified them both. The humans must be stopped, Emperor Rathgol declared. If we allow this insult to stand, every minor species in the galaxy will think they can challenge us. Vezahul agreed completely. My intelligence officers believe the humans have been planning this deception for generations. They made us think they were weak while building secret weapons. The third member of the Alliance was the most dangerous. The Vex High Collective rarely spoke with other races. These aliens lived in the darkest parts of space and communicated through mind reading. But even they recognized the human threat. Vex High Supreme Overmind Thuleth projected its thoughts to the other leaders. The human minds are shielded from our probes. We cannot predict their next move. This makes them extremely dangerous. They must be eliminated completely. The three empires began gathering the largest war fleet in galactic history. Ships came from every corner of controlled space. Ancient dreadnoughts that had not moved in centuries awakened from storage. Experimental weapons were mounted on new vessels built specifically for this war. On Earth, Fleet Admiral Kevin Moore watched the alien preparations through long-range sensors. His team of analysts worked day and night to count enemy ships and weapons. The numbers were terrifying, even to human commanders. "How many ships are they bringing?" asked Colonel Betty Young, Earth's intelligence chief. Kevin checked the latest reports. 5,000 warships at last count. More arriving. Every day. They have mobilized everything they own. Captain Nick Johnson's spy ship Shadow had been watching the alien fleet gather at the edge of human space. His vessel could turn invisible and pass through solid matter, so the aliens never detected him. But what he saw worried him greatly. Alien fleet stretched across hundreds of miles of space. Massive carriers held thousands of fighter craft. Battleships, the size of small moons, carried weapons that could crack planets in half. This was not just an attack force. It was a fleet built to destroy humanity forever. Nick sent encrypted messages back to Earth Command. "Admiral, they are not just planning to defeat us. They want to kill every human in the galaxy. I've intercepted communications about destroying Earth and all human colonies." Admiral Lisa Brooks received Nick's reports in her secret command bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains. She had hoped the aliens would negotiate after losing at Wolf 359. Instead, they chose total war. This left humanity with no choice but to reveal their greatest secrets. Lisa activated a communication system that connected to hidden bases throughout the solar system. For 20 years, these bases had been disguised as asteroids, space stations, and mining operations. The aliens had no idea they existed. "This is Admiral Brooks to all Sol Defense Grid stations. Operation Ragnarok is now active. Prepare all systems for maximum engagement. The enemy fleet will arrive within 6 hours." Commander Grace Miller commanded Defense Station Alpha, hidden inside what looked like a large asteroid near Jupiter. Her station held weapons that could destroy entire fleets. Gravity manipulators that could crush ships like tin cans. Quantum torpedoes that removed targets from existence itself. Grace's crew of 200 had trained in secret for this moment. They were volunteers from across the human colonies, the best and brightest soldiers Earth could find. Many had lost friends and family to alien attacks over the years. Today was their chance for revenge. "All weapons charged and ready, Commander," reported Lieutenant Sue Adams, the station's tactical officer. "We have targeting locks on over 300 enemy vessels." Similar preparations took place at 50 other hidden bases throughout the solar system. Each station commanded enough firepower to defeat the entire pre-war human fleet. Together, They represented the largest concentration of military power in galactic history. Captain Ron Mitchell stood on the bridge of the dreadnought Olympus, humanity's first openly revealed capital ship. The massive vessel had been built in the secret shipyards of Saturn's rings. At 15 kilometers long, it was larger than most alien cities. Ron's ship carried experimental weapons that pushed the boundaries of known science, reality disruptors. That changed the laws of physics. Temporal cannons that could age enemy ships to dust in seconds. Dimensional shields that existed in multiple universes at once. Captain, long-range sensors detect the enemy fleet preparing to jump into our system, reported his science officer, Lieutenant Carl Tucker. Ron nodded calmly. All stations report ready. Signal Admiral Brooks that Olympus is prepared for engagement. The alien fleet emerged from hyperspace, expecting to find Earth's defenses in chaos. Instead, they encountered something that defied their understanding of military strategy. The humans were not running or hiding. They were waiting with confidence that seemed insane given the odds. Admiral Zektar commanded the Zephyrian portion of the Grand Armada from his flagship Eternal Glory. The massive ship had led successful invasions of 50 different worlds. Its crew had never experienced defeat. Zektar expected today to be another easy victory. All ships maintain formation, he ordered. We will sweep through their pathetic defenses and reach Earth within hours. Today, we end the human threat forever. General Morkov controlled the Corton forces from his command dreadnought, Iron Fist. He had studied the Wolf 359 battle recordings and believed he understood human tactics now. His ships carried new weapons designed specifically to counter human technology. Their armor may absorb energy weapons, Morkov told his officers, but our new plasma cannons will burn through anything they have built. The Vex High Collective approached from a different angle. Their dark ships moved like living shadows through space. Supreme Overmind Thulanth had brought the Collective's most powerful vessels, including ships that could exist in multiple dimensions at once. As the Grand Armada advanced toward Earth, something strange began to happen. Space itself seemed to come alive around them. What the aliens had mistaken for empty vacuum or natural asteroids began to reveal their true nature. Defense stations uncloaked throughout the solar system. Weapon platforms that had been disguised for decades powered up their systems. The aliens found themselves not attacking a weak planet, but flying into the most sophisticated trap in galactic history. Admiral Tony Clark activated the Sol defense grid from his command center on Luna. All stations, this is command. The enemy has entered our web. Begin Phase 1 of Operation Ragnarok. Show them what happens when they threaten Earth. The first surprise came from the asteroid fields. Hundreds of rocks that had drifted peacefully for years suddenly sprouted weapon turrets. These automated defense platforms had been placed throughout the solar system over the past 2 decades. Each one carried enough firepower to destroy a small fleet. Captain Pam Kelly controlled a squadron of new human fighters from her carrier ship Freedom. These small craft could move faster than light in short jumps. They appeared behind enemy ships, fired devastating attacks, and disappeared before return fire could reach them. Phoenix Squadron, this is Kelly. Begin hit-and-run attacks on enemy flanks. Make them think we have more ships than we do. The alien commanders quickly realized they had made a terrible mistake. This was not a desperate last stand by a primitive species. The humans had planned this battle for years. Every detail had been considered. Every weapon had been positioned for maximum effect. Emperor Rathgall watched his advanced scouts disappear one by one. Human weapons struck from impossible angles. Ships vanished into what looked like empty space, only to be destroyed by hidden defense platforms. How many secret bases do they have? He demanded. His tactical officer studied the sensor readings. with growing alarm. "Sir, I count at least 50 major installations. All were perfectly camouflaged until now. Our intelligence was completely wrong about human capabilities." The Grand Armada pressed forward despite heavy losses. They still had thousands of ships against what appeared to be a few hundred human vessels. The alien commanders believed they could overwhelm Earth's defenses through sheer numbers. They had no idea that the real battle was about to begin. The Wolf 359 system had never seen a battle like this before. Commander Roy Bennett sat in his captain's chair, watching 200 alien ships approach his small fleet. The enemy vessels were massive and powerful. Their weapons could destroy planets. Roy had only 12 human ships. The Zephyrian and Corton fleets moved in perfect formation. Their commanders had fought together many times. They expected an easy victory against the weak humans. Admiral Zektar of the Zephyrians laughed as he saw the tiny human force waiting for them. 12 ships, Zektar told his officers. The humans must be insane to face us with so few vessels. General Morkoth of the Cortons agreed. "We will destroy them quickly. Then we move on to Earth and finish this pest problem forever." Neither alien commander noticed that the human ships looked different from before. These vessels were sleek and black. Strange energy patterns moved along their hulls. Blue lights pulsed in rhythm like heartbeats. Captain Amy Davis commanded the human ship Thunder. She had trained for this moment her entire life. Her crew of 50 people worked at their stations with calm focus. They knew their ship was special. It had been built with technology the aliens had never seen. "Enemy ships are in range, Captain," reported her weapons officer, Lieutenant Tom Parker. Amy nodded. "All ships, this is Thunder. Begin Operation Lightning. Show them what humans can really do." The alien fleets opened fire first. Hundreds of energy beams shot toward the human ships. The beams were so powerful they could melt steel in seconds. But something impossible happened. The human ships absorbed the energy like sponges drinking water. "What?" Admiral Zektar stared at his screens in shock. "Our weapons hit them directly. Why are they still alive?" The human ships had special armor made from materials found only in black holes. Dr. Helen Carter and her team had worked for 20 years to create this protection. Enemy energy weapons made the armor stronger instead of damaging it. Now it was humanity's turn to attack. Captain Amy gave her crew the order to fire. The Thunder's main weapon looked like a simple metal tube, but inside that tube, a tungsten rod accelerated to incredible speed. The projectile moved so fast that time itself bent around it. The rod hit the Zephyrian flagship dead center. The massive alien ship, which had survived 1,000 battles, split in half like a piece of paper. The explosion lit up space for miles in every direction. Impossible. General Morkoth could not believe what he saw. No weapon can penetrate Zephyrian armor that easily. Captain Steve Parker commanded the human vessel Enterprise. His ship carried different weapons than Thunder. Steve's guns fired tiny black holes that ate everything they touched. One shot could make an entire enemy ship disappear forever. The Enterprise fired 3 shots at a group of Corton battleships. The black holes struck their targets and began to grow. Within seconds, 5 alien ships vanished completely. Not even debris remained. Commander Grace Miller piloted the scout ship Falcon. Her job was to move fast and hit weak spots in the enemy formation. The Falcon could become invisible and travel through solid objects. Grace flew her ship inside a Corton dreadnought and fired from within. The huge alien ship exploded from the inside. Its crew never understood what killed them. To other aliens watching, it looked like the ship destroyed itself for no reason. Admiral Zektar tried to reorganize his remaining forces. Half of his fleet was already gone. The humans fought unlike anything he had ever seen. Their weapons defied the laws of physics. Their ships moved in impossible ways. All units, focus fire on the largest human ship, he ordered desperately. 50 alien vessels turned their weapons toward Thunder. They fired everything they had. The space around Amy's ship filled with deadly energy. But the human vessel emerged, unharmed. Its armor had converted the enemy attacks into power for its own weapons. Captain Tony Clark commanded the heavy cruiser Olympus. His ship was the largest in the human fleet. It carried experimental weapons that Earth's scientists had only finished building last month. Tony decided to test the most powerful one. The weapon was called Reality Disruptor. It changed the basic rules of physics in a small area of space. When Tony fired it at a group of enemy ships, gravity suddenly worked backward. The alien vessels were crushed by forces they could not understand. Lieutenant Colonel Dan Cooper watched the battle from his position on the Bridge of Thunder. He had studied alien tactics for 15 years. The enemy commanders were making mistakes because they could not adapt to human technology. Captain Davis, the Zephyrians are trying to retreat, he reported. Amy smiled grimly. Let some of them escape, Dan. We want survivors to tell the galaxy what happened here today. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it ended, only 30 alien ships remained from the original 200. These survivors fled in terror toward their home worlds. They carried news that would shake the foundation of galactic civilization. Admiral Steve Morrison watched the retreating aliens from his command ship. He opened a communication channel to all human vessels. Outstanding work, everyone. Today we showed the galaxy that humanity will no longer be bullied. But this is just the beginning. The real war starts now. On the Zephyrian homeworld, Admiral. Zektar stood before the Empire's High Council. His uniform was torn and dirty. His face showed the shock of complete defeat. Honored counselors, he began with a shaking voice. I must report a disaster. The humans have weapons we cannot fight. They destroyed our finest ships like they were toys. Council leader Vezal did not believe the report. You lost 200 ships to 12 human vessels? That is impossible. Humans are primitive savages. I saw it with my own eyes, Zektar insisted. Their weapons use technology we do not understand. Their armor makes our energy beams useless. We must warn the Corton Federation and the Vex High Collective immediately. Similar scenes played out across the galaxy. Corton military leaders met in emergency sessions. Vex High mind readers probed the memories of surviving soldiers. Everywhere, the message was the same. Humanity had revealed capabilities that made them the most dangerous species in known space. Emperor Rathgal of the Corton Federation received detailed reports from his surviving commanders. The human ships had moved faster than light in completely new ways. Their weapons violated several laws of physics. Most disturbing of all, they seemed to have been preparing for this war for many years. How did we miss this? The Emperor demanded. Our spies have watched Earth for centuries. We saw their primitive ships and weak weapons. General Corvith, one of the few survivors from Wolf 359, answered carefully. Your Majesty, I believe the humans have been lying to us from the beginning. Everything we thought we knew about their capabilities was false. The Vex High Collectives. Response was swift and brutal. These aliens could read minds and see the future. Their leaders gathered to probe the thoughts of human prisoners. What they discovered terrified them. Humans had natural mental shields that blocked Vex High mind reading. Even worse, human thoughts showed plans for weapons that could destroy entire star systems. The collective seers tried to look into the future, but saw only darkness and fire. News of the Wolf 359 defeat spread across the galaxy within days. Smaller alien races that had served the three great empires began to question their loyalty. If humans could defeat the mighty Zephyrian and Corton fleets so easily, perhaps the old order was ending. Captain Amy Davis returned to Earth as a hero. But she knew the real war was just beginning. The aliens would not make the same mistakes twice. They would gather their full strength and attack with everything they had. "Enjoy this victory," she told her crew as they docked at Luna Station. "Tomorrow we face the storm." Jake Morrison looked out the window of his spaceship. He watched 3 large alien ships surround a human cargo vessel. The cargo ship was small and weak compared to the alien warships. Jake felt angry, but he could not help. His orders were clear. Do not fight unless they attack first. The alien ships belonged to the Zephyrian Empire. They were blue and silver, shaped like giant swords. Each ship was 5 times bigger than Jake's vessel. The Zephyrians thought they owned this part of space. They stopped human ships whenever they wanted. They took cargo and prisoners. Sometimes they destroyed human ships for fun. Captain Jake turned to his second officer, Amy Davis. "How many human ships have they stopped this week?" he asked. Amy checked her computer screen. 15 ships, Captain. They took all the food supplies. From 3 colony ships. 2 mining vessels are still missing. Jake hit his fist on the table. The Zephyrians were getting worse each month. 300 years ago, when humans first reached the stars, the aliens had seemed friendly. They let humans build colonies on empty planets. They traded with Earth. But that time was over. Now 3 alien races ruled the galaxy. The Zephyrian Empire controlled the north side of space. The Corton Federation owned the east. The HFY Collective ruled the south. They had divided the galaxy between them like pieces of cake. Humans were left with scraps. Admiral Lisa Brooks called Jake on the radio. Her voice sounded tired. "Jake, are you watching the cargo ship situation?" "Yes, Admiral. The Zephyrians just boarded the merchant vessel Harmony." "Should we help them?" Lisa was quiet for a long moment. "No, we cannot start a war today. But take pictures of everything. Send them to Earth Command." Jake understood, but he did not like it. The crew of the Harmony were good people. They carried medicine to sick colonists on Planet Hope. Now the Zephyrians would steal the medicine and sell it. Many people would die without treatment. The aliens finished searching the cargo ship. They took half of the medicine supplies. Then they laughed as they flew away. The human cargo ship limped toward Planet Hope with its remaining supplies. On Earth, Dr. Helen Carter sat in a secret laboratory deep underground. She had worked here for 20 years. Her team built weapons and ships that no alien had ever seen. The galaxy thought humans were weak and stupid. Dr. Carter knew better. She walked past rows of new starships. These vessels looked nothing like normal human ships. They were black and smooth. Strange blue lights ran along their sides. Each ship had weapons that could destroy entire alien fleets. But the aliens did not know these ships existed. Helen's assistant, Commander Alex Turner, brought her a report. "Doctor, we just got news from the frontier. The Zephyrians attacked another human convoy. They killed 12 people this time." Helen read the report carefully. The aliens were testing human patience. They wanted to see how far they could push before humans fought back. What they did not understand was that humans had been preparing for war for decades. The 3 alien races thought they were superior. The Zephyrians had ruled space for 2,000 years. Their energy weapons could melt mountains. Their shields could stop nuclear explosions. The Corton Federation had ships the size of cities. The HFY Collective could read minds and control gravity. But these old races had grown lazy. They used the same weapons for centuries. They never improved their technology. They believed nothing could challenge their power. Admiral Pete Williams received an urgent message at Earth Command headquarters. The message came from the human colony on New Texas. Alien ships had surrounded the planet. They demanded that all humans leave within 1 week. Pete called an emergency meeting. Military officers filled the room. Everyone looked worried and angry. The aliens had finally gone too far. How many ships do the Cortons have around New Texas? Pete asked. Colonel Roy Bennett checked his reports. 50 warships, Admiral. All heavy cruisers and battleships. They mean business this time. Pete nodded slowly. New Texas had 2 million human colonists. They had lived there for 60 years. The planet was their home. The Cortons wanted the valuable metals in the planet's core. They did not care about human lives. What are options? Asked Commander Betty Young. Pete looked around the room at his officers. These people had served with him for many years. They trusted his judgment. The decision he made today would change everything. We have 2 choices, Pete said. We can evacuate New Texas and let the aliens take another human world. Or we can show them what humans are really capable of. Everyone in the room understood. For centuries, Earth had pretended to be weak. Human ships looked simple and harmless. Human weapons seemed primitive compared to alien technology. It was all a lie. Hidden in secret bases around the solar system, humanity had built the most advanced war fleet in galactic history. Ships that could travel faster than light in new ways. Weapons that used the power of black holes. Armor that could turn enemy attacks into energy for human weapons. Captain Nick Johnson commanded one of these secret ships. He had been watching alien movements for months. His vessel could turn invisible and travel through solid objects. The aliens never knew he was there. Nick's ship, the Shadow, followed Corton fleets as they moved toward human space. He counted their weapons and studied their tactics. The information he gathered would help Earth plan the perfect attack. Dr. Mary Phillips worked in another secret laboratory. She had invented new types of armor for human soldiers. The armor could protect people from any alien weapon. It made humans stronger and faster than any alien warrior. The time for hiding was almost over. Soon the galaxy would learn the truth about humanity. The 3 great alien empires would discover that they had underestimated the wrong species. Admiral Lisa Brooks made the final decision. She sent a message to all human ships in space. Operation Thunder is approved. All units return to Earth immediately. The war begins in 72 hours. Jake Morrison received the message as he watched another human ship being attacked by aliens. He smiled for the first time in months. Soon the aliens would understand that humans were not prey. They were predators who had been hiding their claws.